What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Fantasy Cruncher NBA Slate preview show. I'm CJ Kaltenbach, otherwise known as The Siege. Welcome. I'm going to walk you through this 9-game slate on DraftKings today. One of the comments I got most was, please use DraftKings pricing. So I'm a man of the people, but I use DraftKings pricing today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like it. Please leave a comment, whether you like it, hate it, think I'm wrong on a player, right on a player, you name it. Leave that in the comments section. It really does help us as we try to grow this. These are going to try to come out every day, so be sure to check our YouTube page often. And of course, as you know, we do these a little earlier in the day. If you're looking for the most up-to-date content, fantasycruncher.com. All our written content, totally free. So check us out, fantasycruncher.com. Okay, let's do it. We're just going to go game by game, just like we did last time. We'll start with Brooklyn and the Orlando Magic, 2-11 total. The Magic are favored by 5. Injury news here, Jonathan Isaac still expected to be out. And Karis LeVert is probable, I think. Pretty sure he's playing today. Let me just double check that real quick. Brooklyn. Karis LeVert. News. Oh, he's resting. Okay, so he played on Saturday. So he's going to sit the front end of the back-to-back. So it looks like he'll sit Monday, play Tuesday. Okay, that's good to know. Because the prices of guys like Joe Harris, Garrett Temple, even Spencer Dinwiddie kind of fell a little bit, anticipating that we would have Karis LeVert back, and he's not. So 7,900 for Spencer Dinwiddie, still a really good price here. We kind of saw his usage rate drop in that return, but just take a look at his usage rates before that with no Karis LeVert. Upper 30s. Think we'll see more of that today on the front end of the back-to-back here against the Magic. And the Magic really aren't all that great against point guards. I know they have a solid DVP, but it's really kind of not true. Nikola Vucevic, 8,300, could be one of the top center options. If you're a center and you go against Brooklyn, you're in great shape. Vucevic can really just overpower Jared Allen, or he can kind of do the mid-range jumper, three-pointer game against DeAndre Jordan. Really doesn't matter who Brooklyn throws out there. Nikola Vucevic should be fine. And by fine, I mean pretty damn good. If you're looking for some peripheral pieces, Jared Allen is cheap. Joe Harris is cheap. Taurean Prince is cheap. You know, the key is just always try to figure out which one of those guys hits, but it's not the worst idea in the world. On the Magic, it really, for me, Aaron Gordon has a ceiling, but I think I'd rather take a shot on Fournier or Ross first before I went that direction. There's a lot of injuries on this slate, so unless the value super stands out to me, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you have to play that today. All right, Indiana and Charlotte. Indiana favored by 5. 208.5 the total here. Injury news here as well. Malcolm Brogdon is still out, I believe. Let me check. Sometimes I think I have this all figured out, and then I read the player's name, and I'm like, are they out? TJ McConnell is out for today. I think they said they'd reevaluate on the 7th. Let me just double check that. Yeah, missed 2 more games. So he's out. So with no TJ McConnell and no Malcolm Brogdon, that leaves us the Aaron Holiday show. He's 5,800 now on DraftKings. That price is getting a bit up there, but he still has ceiling here, you know, especially with no backup traditional point guard. He could get up to 35, 36 minutes here. He hasn't had that great shooting game, you know, even at, you know, he put up 33 points at 5,600, shooting 5 for 19 from the field. And if he starts making a few more shots, then he's going to be in great shape. So Aaron Holiday, 5,800. I think this is a price that will scare people away because they're like, oh, this is too much for the player, but this is about the best situation he's been in all season. So Aaron Holiday is a guy that I think at 5,800 you really should be considering. I mean, Jeremy Lamb, TJ Warren, same old. If they make shots, they can break the slate. Terry Rozier, kind of similar situation. Good matchup, too. Well, maybe not so much against Aaron Holiday. He's probably the best defender between Brogdon, TJ combination. So maybe that DVP isn't quite true. But Terry Rozier has put up some monster games Normally, him and Graham don't do them in the same game. So, if you're looking to play Terry Rozier, probably wouldn't play Devontae Graham. They finally did it, though, against that Dallas, and that must have had some overtimes, though. Because I see 44 minutes, and I don't think they played 44 minutes in regulation. So, don't get too carried away with that box score, but still an option. PJ Washington is still a really good option, 5,600. He's been playing big minutes. Just hasn't had the all-around game yet, but it's coming, so I don't mind him as well. No real cheap guys here that I would really consider. No one's really just playing a ton of minutes. Charlotte plays a ton of different guys. And for the Pacers, it really just kind of is the same old, same old. Sabonis 8,600 is fine. I'm not as much of a Sabonis guy, so I don't really ever like to talk him up. Oklahoma City at Philly. Philly -7, 213 total here. Finally a game without really any real injury news other than Nerlens Noel. I think the prices on everyone here are pretty accurate. Joel Embiid 9,400. Steven Adams isn't the perfect matchup for him. Ben Simmons, kind of similar situation. Chris Paul, good defender, doesn't have the size, but Steven Adams can help support the rim. It's not great. Paul Alexander and Schroeder, Gallinari's back. I would guess Gallinari is the best option of these four. 5,800. He's putting up decent games. Has gotten into the 30s, which is okay. But you can see just went 6 for 21. He made one 2-point attempt. These usage games for him are coming, and he was starting to get going right before he got hurt. So he's a guy that I have a lot of interest in tournaments, but definitely is not like a cash game play or anything like that. Especially in this matchup against Philly, which is one of the better defenses in the league. In terms of players from the Philly side, Al Horford's price just stands out. He's 5,400. It's just too cheap. I know he just hasn't popped that much, but it's Al Horford. I think there's definitely merit there. I'm a guy who likes to fade price-based chalk, and that's clearly what this is. So I might not get there, but I understand that if Al Horford's super chalk today, I'll be like, yep, okay, I understand it. So something else to keep your eye on as you're kind of building your teams throughout the day, looking for pivots, things like that. Don't really see anything else here in this game that I have a whole lot of interest in, to be honest. It looks pretty straightforward, other than that. So let us move on. There's no big rotation changes. The Boston Celtics against the Washington Wizards. Now, this injury list will take a minute. Bradley Beal, I can't believe Beal's going to sit against the Celtics. He hates the Celtics. Well, let's see what we got for Bradley Beal. Mahimne's hurt too. Good grief. He's questionable. And then he sat out over the weekend. I mean, we'll see. I kind of think he plays. He hates the Celtics. The bigger injury news, actually, for me, is probably Mahimne. If he misses with that finger injury, they literally don't have a single big guy on the roster. They literally have Anzis Pachinniks will be the only big on the roster if Mahimne can't play because they literally just waived Jonathan Williams. So, I mean, either they know that Mahimne's fine or they don't care. So, keep an eye on that. If he sits, Pachinniks is just has to be a play because he'll have to be on the floor and play 30-something minutes. And, at that point, the Celtics can get whatever they want at the rim. I see a 226.5 total, and the first thing I think of is, how are the Wizards going to stop anybody? And also, I can't imagine Boston's only an 8-point favorite if Bradley Beal's out. So I definitely think Bradley Beal's going to play. And if there's no... Mahimne's the only reason that defense has been improving lately. So 226.5 feels low. Something I might attack before I leave. For the Celtics, Kemba Walker, I imagine, is going to sit here if he's not already ruled out. That whole Celtics team has been getting sick this year. It's kind of weird. But, the prices on these guys are fair. Tatum, Brown, Hayward, I think their prices are all fair. The Enes Kanter price feels obscene, but against Pachinniks, it could just be 15 and 15 before you even know it. So I don't mind Enes Kanter in this spot either. For the Wizards, I mean, it's McRae, it's IT2, Revenge, 4,100. I mean, I know he hasn't been getting any minutes, but if there was ever a spot where the coach would just be like, all right, I'm going to give you minutes now, it'd be this one. So I don't hate that. But yeah, really for me, it's McRae, it's Matthews if Beal does miss. But other than that, for the Wizards, I don't have a ton of interest in them. Mo Wagner isn't back yet, is he? Yeah, he's not back. So, yeah, Daniel Tice at 4K, I guess, is a little interesting, just because there's no one at the rim at all that can play good defense. But I don't think we are going to need to get there. Pashiznik's 3,600. He's like the best player on the play. If Mahinmi can't go. Marcus Smart 5,200 against the Wizards. Just lock him in. Don't overthink that one. I almost missed him just because the price was so low. I don't know why his price is still this low, but he's a fantastic option against a Wizards team that plays fast, loves to turn the football over, turn over the basketball. Try basketball. That's the sport we're talking about. Turn over the basketball. Turn over the baseball. How do you even turn over a baseball? Anyways, turn over the basketball. Really good option here. All sites. Don't overthink this one. Brown, Tatum. I'd probably just play one. And honestly, Jason Tatum's price is just too expensive for me. Like, he has to just go shoot lights out to pay off this price. Like, as a Celtics fan, like, I kind of just would tell you to make Jason Tatum go beat you by shooting lights out. He's a really good player, but 8K, just considering how he's kind of a one-trick pony at this point, I'd take a pass on that. All right, let's move on to the next game. Denver at Atlanta. Denver, 223 total. John Collins, probable. Jabari Parker, doubtful. Cam Reddish went through shoot-around. Bembry went through parts of shoot-around. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if the Hawks can get a little bit healthier. I mean, honestly, though, the Hawks really are just, they start and end with Trae Young, 9,800 for him. His usage rate's through the roof still. I thought when Kevin Huerter came back, it would decrease a little bit, and it just really hasn't. This team really just needs Trae Young to do everything. And, he played the back-to-back over the weekend, played 2 fantastic games. So it's just hard for me to fade Trae Young at under 10K. I kind of feel like my floor is 45 and my ceiling's 65. Jamal Murray has been playing great defense, so I don't mind attacking Trae Young here, especially in a home game against a Western Conference team. I think that's a good option. Jamal Murray's had a terrible season. He finally has been getting it going. Nikola Jokic, after that little bit of a hot streak, has cooled off again. This spot against Atlanta is just so good. I would really just encourage you to just hope that he shows up and decides to play. Because if he just puts effort in, it's 60 fantasy points. Relatively easy against this front court of John Collins and Alex Len. So Jokic 9,200, one of the better studs on the slate. A lot of more risk here than there should be, frankly. But I'm not going to just fade him because I'm like, he has been lazy lately. That's just, this is a numbers game. And the matchup just is so good against Atlanta. I'm not going to fade him just because he's been bad the last few. That would be pretty silly. Alex Len, 5,300. It's okay. I just really don't like the matchup for him whatsoever. Michael Porter Jr., if someone ever gets hurt, he's going to be a fantastic value option. Cam Reddish just can't shoot. So for me, it really kind of is Trae Young, Jokic, and that's really kind of it. I think Will Barton, Kevin Huerter are priced out of reasonable range. 6,100 for Kevin Huerter is just way too much for my blood. Again, he has to just shoot lights out to get there. All right, Kevin Huerter, go shoot lights out to beat me. I get it. He's been playing monster minutes, and I guess that helps. But I just can't imagine how I get to a projection above 32 fantasy points. And if I can't project them closer to 35, he's just never going to make a team. So I probably won't see any Kevin Huerter today. All right, that's it. Let's move on to the next game. Utah and the Pelicans. Utah favored by 3. A lot of interesting options here. I mean, we always have to see what happens with Jrue Holiday. If Jrue Holiday sits, then it really changes the whole situation here for this team. But let's just assume Jrue Holiday's in for now. If Jrue Holiday's in, the only Pelican I have any interest in is in Derek Favors at 6,900. Been playing monster minutes, been playing super well. It's revenge, whatever. But he's just in a really good spot, playing big minutes on this Pelicans team. playing really well too. Basically just a double-double machine. And if you can double-double at 6,900, I'm just going to want you on my team because then it just takes you to do a couple other things to get to that 6-7x value. So I really like Derek Favors today. The rebound matchup isn't perfect, but he's just been clearing that rebound total so easily. I'm not too worried about it today. On the Utah side, Jordan Clarkson's super cheap, 4,600. He's been playing a really good role off the bench, especially with Mike Conley out. Joe Ingles, 5,700. He hasn't been kind of as good since Jordan Clarkson came in, but he's been fine. But I'm not like dying to play him with Conley out like I was earlier. But he's still an option. But Jordan Clarkson, 4,600. I mean, he didn't shoot well last game, but he's playing 26 minutes a night. If he plays 26 minutes a night, he's going to be about a point per minute guy. So he definitely has some ceiling there. Pelicans, if Giroux's in, it's basically Brandon Ingram and Derek Favors as kind of the only guys you can play. If Giroux's out, Brandon Ingram moves way up the list, obviously. So does Favors. Lonzo Ball's priced at 6,800. He's been on fire lately. Just making a ton of shots. I just don't know how sustainable that is. Like, I just don't know how many shots Lonzo can make. I mean, that being said, like, if Holiday's out, there's probably more minutes here for Lonzo, getting to that 35, 36 range. This feels like an overprice for me. I would rather just play JJ Redick or Josh Hart at that point. Josh Hart's still playing his 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. And if Giroux's out, there'll be more minutes there for him. So I would rather go that way over Lonzo Ball. But I think Lonzo will be contrarian at this price. So if Giroux was to be ruled out, and let's just say you played him on your team, so you try to get contrarian and play Jrue Holiday, he gets ruled out, and you swap the ball. Not the craziest contrarian play either, because he does have a ceiling. Actually, I kind of like that. Because if Giroux plays, I really like the matchup for Giroux. And Ball can go off. That's not a bad idea. Play Giroux and swap the ball to be contrarian either way. So that's something worth considering as well. All right, 3 more games left. Let's do it. Chicago at Dallas. The question on everyone's mind is, do you fade Luka Doncic? And I would say to you, you have all lost your minds if you want to fade Luka Doncic. The usage rate is like 38% playing 40 minutes a night. Guys, you don't fade that. Like, you just don't fade this. Like, maybe if it was a 3 and 4, like, you could talk me into, like, maybe fading. But, like, he's going to play 40 minutes at 38% usage rate. This team's in the playoff race. I think I mentioned this a couple shows ago where it's like, this isn't a team that's tanking, right, that needs to worry about, like, managing Luka's minutes long term. Like, this is a team that is in the playoff picture right now. Could make the playoffs right now. Could make a run with one more addition right now. So with Porzingis out, they're not going to just like take these losses, especially as they're playing their East Coast swing. Like, they need to get these wins. So give me all the Luka Doncic at 12-2 against the Chicago Bulls. Lauri Markkanen is expected to sit with an illness, and that means we finally get value Thad Young. We haven't had this all season, and it's about time. Thad Young, I would expect, will start. Play about 26 to 28 minutes off the bench. Really good matchup against the Dallas front court. He'd be one of my favorite options on the entire slate if Lauri Markkanen can't go. Wendell Carter Jr. is also pretty sneaky if he can't go, but I kind of would just rather play Thad Young in this spot and not get cute. They could also go small too, and Kobe White could be the beneficiary, but he's so shooting dependent, it's really tough to play him unless it's one of those premier three-point shooting specialist spots. Dallas, it basically is just Luka Doncic for me. You can talk me into maybe some Maxi Kleber, but I just don't see a ceiling there at that price. Dorian Finney-Smith, more of the same. Seth Curry, I guess, at 4,500 has a ceiling, but he requires you to take one of your guard spots. Guard spots are super loaded today on DraftKings. I don't know if I really want to give it up for the name of Seth Curry. So, for me, it's really Luka Doncic. It's Thad Young if Lauri Markkanen sits. And then I really don't see any other role players that I really want in this game. Not one of the higher totals on the slate either, 217. So, don't have to get too carried away here. The home and home, Milwaukee, San Antonio. Just talked about this game last stream. Like, they literally just played on Saturday. And really, that game kind of went according to plan. If I'm going to play Giannis, I'm going to play LaMarcus Aldridge again. We can see what Aldridge did. He put up 35 in 33 minutes, shot horrible, and was in foul trouble. 5 fouls, 5 for 14 from the field. But you can see the 3-point attempts, right? He took 7. We talked about that. Spacing 4s against this Milwaukee team. And I really like the spot for Aldridge. I'll go back here, play him with Giannis once again. Don't really have an issue with that. Let's see, who else went off? Someone in this game went off that I wasn't expecting to. Was it DeJounte Murray? No. Derek White? No. Someone went off in this game, and I cannot remember who it was. I guess I could just pull up the box score. Oh, that's today's game summary. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one a couple days ago. It was Rudy Gay off the bench, 15 and 8. So, yeah, with DeJounte Murray expected back, I wouldn't lose a whole lot of sleep over it. They started Trey Lyles and Lonnie Walker. That's kind of interesting to me. But we'll have to see if they start Trey Lyles again. If they start Trey Lyles again, you probably have to play him at this $3,500 price tag, just given how he did in that first matchup. Not a whole lot's changed since then. So, and if Lonnie Walker was to start again too, although he might start. If Lonnie Walker was to start again, I wouldn't hate that option as well at this price point. He played 26 minutes and played bad offensively, played good defense. So if he plays a little bit offensively, maybe there's a little bit more minute ceiling in there for him as well. So don't hate that either. If you're looking for some cheap value, this might be the game to go. Trey Lyles, 3,500. Lonnie Walker, 3,400. All right, one last game here, and this game's got a ton of injuries, so bear with me as I go through them all. D'Angelo Russell out. Draymond Green out. And there's one more. Who's the other? There's another one that's ruled out. Draymond Green, Kevin Looney is out as well. Bogdanovich is out. I mean, we've seen this so many times with the Warriors when those guys are ruled out. It's basically Glenn Robinson III and Alec Burks. Alec Burks is priced up to $6,500. Probably the point where I pass, but I would understand if you wanted to play him. He's got 45-point upside in this matchup. But for me, my favorite play is still Glenn Robinson III. He plays big minutes in all these spots. They need wings, and all he's got to do is make some shots. Just don't go 1 for 11, and you'll be fine. So I like Glenn Robinson III, 4,800. He's even better on FanDuel, where he takes out one of those small forward spots, which can sometimes be so hard to fill. So I'm a huge fan of him as well. I mean, I guess we can I'll just show you real quick what happens when those guys are off the floor for the Warriors, just to show you. Golden State Warriors. And we'll take off Steph, Green, Russell, and I really don't care about Kevon Looney. He's not really a big enough usage player to move the needle. So we can see basically the only fantasy point per minute guy is Marquise Chris. Everyone else is just a smidge below it. But you can see, I want to draw your attention to, where do you go? Glenn Robinson III, 0.83 fantasy points per minute. He's a guy that can play 36 minutes at 0.8, and now you're talking about 30 fantasy points. So that's just what I wanted to show you. But there's some decent guys here, but most of them are priced up. So I'm not really wild about the situation. For me, I really like the Sacramento side more. I think Fox is too cheap. I think Hield's too cheap. I think that Rashawn Holmes is too cheap. I think those are the three ways I'd go. I don't hate Marquise Chris at 4.8. I'm not in love with it if Small Jack's going to keep getting this work, though. He's been hopping into that rotation. I talked about it a little while ago, but if he's going to keep playing these type of minutes, it's going to be really just tough for me to play any of those big guys because now it's back to being an overloaded situation. So just to recap, top plays, Marcus Smart, Thaddeus Young, Lonnie Walker, I really kind of dig in this spot. Considering he didn't play well at all and got 26 minutes. That's really encouraging to see. Trey Lyles, I think if he starts again, I really like that spot. I think that's probably my favorite spot is Trey Lyles in terms of value if he starts, because that's got 99 written all over it. At 3,500, you'll take it. And the double-double is certainly a possibility in that spot. Don't mind Dante, but for me, the top values are Thad, Marcus, Lonnie, and Trey Lyles. And the top stud, of course, Trae Young. Again, if you guys haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment on the video. We'll be trying to do these every single day moving forward. Every single weekday, I guess I should say, moving forward. Again, if you want all up-to-date content as the day moves on, fantasycruncher.com. And with that, guys, we'll see you next time.